So, for this lecture is as follows. First, we will discuss the energy flow, how the energy flows from the source to the destination. This will be followed by a generalized description of the primary components. This will be followed by the discussion on resistor, and then the capacitors, and then this is going to be followed by a discussion on the inductors. Then later on, after discussing these three primary elements, we will focus our attention on the sources. Okay. So, let us now look at how the energy flows. Energy always flows from the source to the load. It emanates from the source and then terminates at the load. In the process of flowing from the source to the load, many things happen to the energy. One of the things that happens to the energy is that it can get transformed. It can get transformed from electrical energy to heat energy, from electrical energy to magnetic energy, or to mechanical energy, or to a translational mechanical energy, so on and so forth. There is something else that can also happen to this energy in the process of moving from the source to the load. It can get lost. Lost meaning that amount of energy becomes unavailable to the load. Further, this energy can also get stored, and it can get stored in two forms: the kinetic energy or the potential energy. These are the only two forms that it can get stored. So, here we see that the energy that gets lost, that becomes unavailable to the load, remains lost, but the energy that gets stored in either the kinetic form or the potential form can later be recovered and sent either to the load or back to the source. One of these things can happen, as you will see by and by in future circuits. So, the energy gets lost as heat in most of the time in a component called a resistor, which is denoted by the letter R here, and the energy gets stored in the kinetic form in a component called inductor, which has an inductance values as indicated by letter symbol L here, and it can get stored in the potential form in a component called the capacitor, denoted by the letter symbol C here. So, now let us look at these primary components one by one. The resistors first. What are these resistors? What are the features of these resistors? First of all, it is a non-dynamic or not a dynamic component. What does this mean? It means that it is an algebraic component. Whatever is there, the input comes at the output at that instant, at every instant, instant by instant. There is no history, there is no memory. It cannot remember the past states or the past values. And further, the most important functional property of the resistor is that it has to dissipate. It is lossy, and most of the dissipation occurs as heat. So, let us try to characterize the resistors. In fact, most of the components generally we characterize by the IV characteristic. We put the V voltage on the x axis, I on the y axis. So, here in this particular diagram, V is the independent axis and I is the dependent axis. So, in this IV characteristic, we plot the character of the resistor, as you see here, is a straight line, and the slope in this case is I by V is 1 by R, or 1 by the resistor's resistance value. So, this is how the resistance is described. So, if you see here in this graph, if this line representing the resistor is aligned along the vertical axis, that is the y axis, then the slope is infinite, which means that R is 0, and this would represent short circuit. On the other hand, if this resistor line is aligned along the V axis, that is the x axis, then R is infinite as the slope is 0, slope of this line is 0. So, we see that the resistor line can vary from short circuit along the vertical axis to open circuit along the horizontal axis, and in between it can take any value from 0 to open circuit. This is the VI characteristic of a resistor, of a simple resistor. Now, coming back to this VI characteristic, let us take a point on the voltage axis and then draw a line directly up onto the resistor characteristic line, and from that intersection point we draw another line which intersects the current. So, at this point we see that voltage here gets multiplied by the slope 1 by R and results in the current. So, you have the voltage multiplied by this resistor resulting in this current. That becomes the governing equation for the resistor, I equals voltage by R, or it can also be written as voltage equals current into R. It is basically the same equation which is algebraically represented in a slightly different way. This is called the Ohm's law, one of the most fundamental laws in electrical engineering which you will be using almost throughout your life. Another important character in the resistor is its power dissipation, because we said that energy is going to get lost in the resistor as heat. We need to quantify how much amount of this energy gets lost. Power in watts is equal to voltage in volts into current in amps. So, VR is the voltage across the resistance and I is the current through the resistance. So, the product of this V into I will give you the wattage or the power that gets dissipated in this resistance. Now, this IV itself we saw by Ohm's law can be written as I into R, current into R, and into a further component of current which is equal to I square R. So, the equation for the power is I square R. The power dissipation can also be written as VR, and IR can be written as VR by R as we saw earlier in the governing equations. This gives VR square by R, that is voltage square by R. So, summarizing, we see that the power dissipation in a resistor can either be I square R if you know the current, or if you know the voltage across the resistance, then it is V square by R. So, you see here the summarization of the power. Power is VR into IR, power dissipated in the resistor is also I square R, power dissipated in the resistor is also V square by R, depending upon which variables are known at any given point of time. There are different types of resistors. One is the carbon composition resistor, the way it is made. You have the metal film resistor, wire wound resistors and such, and many more types. How does one know what is the value of the resistor of a given resistor? Let me show to you a resistor, how a practical real world resistor looks like. So, what you see here is a resistor which has two leads. There is one lead here, there is another lead here, which gets connected to your circuit, and this portion is the resistive portion which impedes the flow of the current, and there is going to be loss, the I square R loss or the V square by R loss or V into IR loss, any one of those equations. This is a carbon compound resistor, it is a half watt resistor. You see that there are some bands on the resistor here, some red band, violet, black, so on and so forth. The resistor value is recognized by the band, the color bands that are drawn on the resistor. Okay. So, the color coding is as follows. We see here on the slide that there are these numbers from 0 to 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and each number has an associated color, which I am writing here. The 0 is represented by black, 1 is represented by brown, 2 by red, so on and so forth, 3 is orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, grey, white, till 9. So, each color here as given represents a numeric value. Now, it is pretty difficult to remember the order in which the colors are written. So, therefore, we normally have a key. You look at this first letters B, B, Roy, R-O-Y, G, B, V, G, W. Okay, these two are phrases, GB and VGW. You can remember it as phrases. GB is the short form for Great Britain, VGW is the short form for very good wine. So, you can remember the whole phrase, the whole color code as BB Roy, Great Britain, very good wine, which will give you the order, the sequence in which you can remember the color codes which represent the numeric values. So, how do we read the colors in the color code? Now, look at this resistor here. It is having, starting with the red color as its leftmost band, color band. Then you have the violet color band, and then followed by the black color band. And there is a fourth color band here, the extreme, right extreme, and that color band represents the tolerance, variation of the resistance with temperature. So, the value is given by only this first three color band. Now, the first band represents the first significant digit, the second band the second significant digit, the third band is the multiplier 10 to the power of something, whatever that color represents. So, here for example, if we take that particular resistance, you have the first band which is a red, the second band which is a violet, and the third band which is black. So, the first band red we put 2, the second band also gives you the next significant digit which is violet, which is number 7 here, 7, and the third band which is black is the multiplier which is 10 to the power of the numeric value of black, which is 0, because numeric value of black here is 0. So, the value of the resistor is 27 into 10 to the power of 0, which is 1, which is 27 ohms, and the symbol for ohm is the Greek letter omega. Okay. So, this is how you read the color code from the value of the resistor from the color code as indicated. The resistors are shown by various symbols in the textbook. You have a rectangular box with 2 leads, you have a zigzag set of lines connected to the two leads. This is one form of representation, and you have a rectangular box and then an arrow in between to represent a variable resistor, and also in this form a zigzag with an arrow as a variable resistor. Yeah. These are the various symbols of resistors. Before we go into the new topic, let us look at some real world resistors. This is one of the resistors that you just saw while we were calculating the value of the resistors. It is a carbon compound resistor. Likewise, here is another carbon compound resistor. This is also a half watt resistor. You also have a look at this resistor size wise relatively. This is a quarter watt resistor. I will put in a different value of a different type of resistor. You see this resistor here. This is a box type. This is made differently. This is called a metal film resistor. This is more precise than this in terms of variation with respect to temperature and such, and they are generally used for frequency tuning components. There is another type of resistor here, slightly different from the type that you saw. This has 3 terminals. This is a variable resistor, just like we saw in the symbol here, 2 terminals and an arrow in between. It is that component. You have 2 terminals, and the third terminal is the tap which represents the arrow, which varies with respect to either of the 2 terminals. There is a screw here which can be rotated to position the center tap value at any arbitrary value depending upon the particular circuit. So, if we connect a voltage across these 2 extreme terminals, the voltage across that is going to be fixed, because the resistance across the 2 extreme terminals is fixed. And if we rotate the screw, the center tapped position keeps varying, and the potential of the center tapped value with respect to its extreme terminals keeps varying, and therefore, we say the potential is varying with respect to the extreme terminals. This is called a potentiometer. It is a variable resistor. Apart from these resistors, there are other resistors also which are bigger in size to handle higher wattages. Now, here is one such component. This is also a potentiometer, similar to the low wattage blue box that you saw previously. This also has 3 terminals. These 2 are the extreme N terminals of the resistor, and this center terminal is the center tap, which actually will vary with respect to the N terminals, and the variation of the center tap can be attained by rotating this vertical knob which is around here. There is this another type of fixed resistor. This is also actually a carbon compound, but you will see that this is slightly bigger than the half watt and the quarter watt resistors to handle much higher power dissipation capability. These are the high wattage resistors which will go into your circuits. There is still higher wattage resistors available in the market. This is a 25 watt resistor. This is a wire wound resistor, and you will see that the value of the resistors are written on the body of the resistor, and here you do not see the color coding. In fact, in high wattage resistors there are no color codes, the value is directly written on the body of the resistor. Another high wattage resistor, which is actually of similar size compared to the 25 watt resistor that you saw just now, is something like this, which has a heat sink also. You will see the 2 terminals here, and the value written on that one, 100 ohms, and it is a 100 watt resistor, which is 4 times power dissipating capability than the previous wire wound 25 watt resistor. but of similar size. It is basically because of the heat sinks that is encapsulating the actual resistor, and which can dissipate the heat more effectively. And this has 4 mounting holes which can be mounted onto